Hey guys. Today we are going to be installing the SumoSprings progressive bump stop. So basically how these work is these are made of a heavy duty foam type of material that's on the inside, and as the suspension compresses and if it bottoms out, actually acts like a cushion. So I've never run these before. I'm going to say it's probably safe to say these are not as good as hydraulic bump stops, but they are nowhere near the cost. These are like about $125 for, a set, and the set comes in two. So you could, if you want one for front and back, it's going to run you, right around $250 or so. And again, that is a fraction of the cost of what hydraulic bump stops cost. So I ended up going this route. I'm going to try it, see how it works. From what I've seen, online, these are supposed to work well. And a few guys from Northridge are actually running these, and they actually recommended them to me. So shout out to Northridge for working with me and explaining how these things work. And like I said, I went ahead and pulled the trigger and I'm going to give them a try. Now when you run these progressive bump stops, you also have to move the normal bump stop from the top to the bottom. So TerraFlex sells a kit for this. It was only like $30. It's not expensive. And I don't know if all JKs are like this, but mine's a 2015, and the bottom perch for the spring actually has a threaded hole in it already. And this just goes on top of the perch like that, and then the hole of the screw goes into the threaded hole there, and it's good to go. Now, I'm going to put these in, once I get to the point where I'm ready to put the spring back in, because I don't want to be fighting this. What I'm going to concentrate on right now is the installing the SumoSprings progressive bump stop in the top bump stop mount. So what I've done to get to this point is I've loosened the bottom shock bolt. I've just disconnected my sway bar, and I have my Jeep up on the lift, but to do this in the driveway, you're going to have to get it up on jack stands. And the easiest way I found to remove my spring is just to disconnect the bottom shock bolt, disconnect the sway bar links, put so I just used a milk crate, like this one, and I put it under the opposite tire, and I lowered the driver's side axle. And what that did was that decompressed the spring and allowed me to squeeze it out. And I have a 4-inch lift, so anyone with a 4-inch lift or less should be able to do this in the driveway. Alright, yellow goes in front, the black bump stops going back. So remember, yellow front. And you can't mess them up, because to mount them to the front you need to, screw them in. So an easy way to get the bolt to drop it down through here is to take a magnetic, and this is just a retrieving tool, when you drop a socket in there. You could pick these up at just about any hardware store or any auto parts store. So you pull it down with the magnetic end. So I just feed it through the bottom, and it just comes out the top. And I'm just putting the bolt on the end and pulling it through. And you can see it right here. And make sure you put Loctite on this, because you don't want to have to take everything all apart again to redo it if the bolt comes loose. So the bolt is a 13 millimeter, and I'm just got a short, socket with an extension, and I'm just feeding it, into the top. All right, that's on there. And start it by hand, then, crank it down with the ratchet. So to do this, you're going to have to pull the splash shield for the inner fender. You're going to have to pull the spring, and on this side I had to take off the drag link to pull the spring. There just wasn't enough room to pull it without doing that. Alright, that's tight, it's in there. Alright, so now I'm just putting the spring back in. And you can see the bump stop that I have right here. You don't want to have to take the spring off again, so remember to put a bump stop in there. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to droop the other side, or push up on the other side, and I'm just using a milk crate. And that'll allow this side to droop a little bit more, and we'll be able to get this spring all the way in. Alright, so all I did is I just drooped the suspension, and I was able to get the spring back in there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the bolt in for the bottom bump stop. Alright, so this is the bolt for the bottom bump stop. It's 15 millimeter. Alright, so get this thing started. Alright, so we're just going to snug it up. I'm kind of pushing down with my thumb on the top of the ratchet while I'm doing this, just to... And, don't over tighten this, because you will strip the threads if you do. Just, it just needs to be snug. Alright, that should do it. For the back, you don't have to pull the rear springs. All you have to do is just pull the factory bump stop out of here and replace it with the SumoSprings progressive bump stop. So the rear Sumo progressive bump stop, I've just looped it up real good with WD-40, and I guess we're going to find out here how difficult this is going to be to press in. It's the first time I'm doing this, so we're going to find out. I wanted to show you guys a quick trick to help install these, but what you do is once you have it kind of up in the mount for the bump stops, take a big screwdriver and kind of, wedge it in there like that and push up from the bottom. And what that'll do is that'll push this up and help, seat it properly into the mount for the bump stop. So I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was all the way in on the rear. It was just hanging out just a hair. So what I did was I took the screwdriver and, and again, all I did was just put it, while it was in the mount like that and push up. and it popped it right in. The rear, super easy. So just a quick review of how these get installed is, you have the bolt that drops in, and it drops in through the tube, and it just screws into the top of the bump stop. And the bottoms, they just, mine's a 2015, and it already had the hole drilled at the bottom, and it was already threaded, so all I had to do was just install them. I watched a couple of install videos where people were actually drilling this out, so I didn't have to do that. I don't know if maybe the earlier JKs didn't have it, I have no idea, but I didn't have to do any drilling. And the bolt that came with this was the appropriate size for the threads, so it just bolted right in. So this is the passenger side, and we'll do a quick walk around of the Jeep. And this is the driver's side, and it looks just like the passenger side, same thing. Bottom bump stops are installed. The top progressive bump stop is installed. I still have to put the bolts in for my shocks and connect my sway bar, but I'll do that later. So we'll go to the back. And there's the bump stop for the back. And these are much easier to install than the front. They just pop in. And there's my bottom bump stop. And again, that's a 2-inch bump stop. And here's the passenger side. And again, they look the same on each side. There's the bump stop. So it'll be interesting to see how these perform when I go to Silver Lake Sand Dunes, the off-road park, because there, it's more just driving over the dunes, etc. at a little bit higher speed. It's not crawling. All right. So one thing I do want to mention, I did have to pull the inner fender shields, the splash shield, to access this. If you have the stock plastic splash shields, you can most likely just loosen up the bottom and pull it forward, and you'll probably be able to access it. But again, it's just something you're going to have to try. I have aluminum splash shields, so they had to come off for mine. This is the driver's side, and I already have that back on, but I need to put the passenger side back on now. But I'll go ahead and I'll do that. At this point, I think that wraps this up. So again, this seems to be a pretty good product made by SumoSprings, and it's a progressive bump stop, so it actually will compress as you're bottoming out. So that should help cushion it a little bit, so you don't get that hard jarring when your suspension bottoms out. I think that wraps it up, guys. This is still a new channel, so please like and subscribe.